Crying doesn't change your life, building does. You can sit there whining about what happened, who hurt you, what you didn't get, why life's not fair, or you can get up and build something. Something that lasts, something that pays, something that silences everyone who ever doubted you. That's the only way I've ever operated. I didn't cry when the media came after me. I didn't cry when they said I'd lost everything. I built, that's what winners do. Look, life's not fair, we know that. Winners know that. Losers cry about it. And guess what? The world doesn't care. It moves with or without you. The winners, they move with it. They don't wait for things to feel right. They don't wait for a round of applause. They make things happen. They build when everyone else is breaking. That's what I did over and over. That's why I'm still standing, still dominating, still controlling headlines decades later. You want to change your life? Stop looking for sympathy. Nobody's coming to rescue you. Nobody's handing you the dream. You either step up or get stepped on. And if that makes you uncomfortable, good. It should, because comfort is the drug that's killing your potential. The longer you cry, the longer you delay building the empire that's in your head. You've got to flip the script. The pain isn't your excuse. It's your blueprint. I got hit harder than most, and I got hit publicly. The press lined up to watch me fall. Business setbacks, I had them, massive debt. Been there, betrayal, more times than I can count. But I never let it break me. I used it, I turned it into fuel, into fire. Into steel. You know what's stronger than motivation? Resentment. You know what's louder than crying? Winning. And the second you understand that, you stop complaining and you start building. When they said I was finished, I built 40 Wall Street. When they said reality TV would ruin me, I built The Apprentice into a ratings machine. When they said I'd never win office, I built a movement. I didn't cry. I didn't post sad little quotes online. I got to work. And that work, it spoke louder than every insult they ever threw at me. That's what you've got to do. Get up, build something, build it so loud it shuts down the critics without you saying a word. Nobody respects tears, they respect towers. Results, wins, crying may get you attention, building gets you power. You want influence? Build. You want options? Build. You want peace? Build, because the world doesn't slow down for your story. It moves with the strong, and strong isn't about genetics. It's about decisions, about getting hit and still moving forward. That's real strength. This isn't about being cold, it's about being focused. Focused, you've got 24 hours, same as me. What are you doing with them? Are you crying over yesterday? Or are you using today to dominate tomorrow? That's the mindset, that's how I think. That's how winners think. Every hour is an asset. Every day is a foundation. Every setback is a setup if you build instead of break. People ask me all the time, Trump, how did you handle the criticism? The pressure? The lawsuits, the chaos? Simple. I kept building. You know how you stay sane in a world that wants you to lose? Progress, motion, action. You build your way out. You don't cry your way out. You don't beg for understanding. You don't hope they'll stop hating. You build something so solid they can't touch it. That's your revenge. That's your power. I've watched people spend their whole lives crying over what they didn't get. Crying over missed chances, bad breaks, broken promises. And while they cry, someone else builds. And then they hate that person. He's lucky he had help. No, he had discipline. He had vision. He had guts. He did what you didn't do. He built, that's the difference. That's why some lead and others follow. I'm not interested in excuses, never was. If I'd listened to excuses, I'd still be whining about New York City bureaucracy. Still talking about the interest rates. Still waiting on someone to green light my vision. But I didn't. I took what I had and I made it enough. Then I flipped it. Then I scaled it. That's what building looks like, not waiting. Not whining, moving. Do you know how many people laughed when I proposed the gold interior of Trump Tower? Said it was too much, said it wouldn't work. You know what I said? Watch me. And now it's iconic. Now it's a destination. Because I didn't build for their approval. I built for dominance, I built for legacy. I built because crying over other people's opinions never built a skyscraper. Courage did. Execution did. Unshakable vision did. And that's what you need, not another rant, not another therapy session. You need a shovel, a blueprint, a deadline. Start building. Build your skill set, build your finances, build your name. Crying gives you nothing. Building gives you everything. I don't care what you're facing, divorce, debt, disrespect, disaster, build. That's the only way out. You see, the ones who cry, they get sympathy. The ones who build, they get history. I chose history, I chose power, I chose empire, and I've been laughed at, hated, underestimated, dragged, and I'm still here. Still building, still winning. Why? Because when you build something real, nothing else matters. The critics fade, the headlines change, but the tower stands. So I'm telling you, whatever you're dealing with, whatever life threw at you, don't cry about it. Build something instead. That's how you win. That's how you shut them up. That's how you flip the entire story in gold. You want to hear about failure, real failure? The kind that shakes most people to their core and sends them running? I lived it. Front page, headlines. Cameras in my face, reporters outside my office, the banks breathing down my neck, the lawsuits stacked to the ceiling. The world watching me fall, and still I didn't cry. I didn't fold. I didn't go online looking for pity. I got to work. The early 1990s, you've heard about it, right? Commercial real estate crashed, the market tanked. The economy went sideways, and I was leveraged to the teeth. Billions in loans. Projects that were perfect just months earlier suddenly didn't make sense on paper. People who used to shake my hand now whispered behind my back. And the media? Oh, they loved it. Trump is broke. Trump's finished. Trump's empire collapses. They lined up to dance on my grave. Let me tell you something, that's the moment most people cry. That's the moment they break. That's the moment they start making excuses. Blaming the market, blaming the press, blaming their team, but I didn't do that. I didn't play the victim. I didn't ask for mercy. I did what I've always done. I built. I went right into the chaos and said, let's fix this. I met with the banks face to face. Some of them wanted me gone. Some of them wanted blood, but they all knew one thing: if anyone could flip it, it was me. I told them, you take this from me, it dies. You leave it in my hands, it thrives. And I meant it. And they knew I meant it. Because even with everything crashing around me, I still moved like a builder. Like a boss, because I never let the fear get louder than the plan. That's what most people don't understand. When everything is falling apart, that's when you get to prove who you really are. Not during the wins, during the war. That's when your character gets exposed. And mine? Built like steel? While they were laughing at me, while they were saying it was over, I was already building the comeback. I never stopped. You know what I did in the middle of that collapse? I bought 40 Wall Street. Everyone thought I was insane. The building was a mess, vacant, undervalued. But I saw what they didn't. Location, legacy, potential. I bought it for next to nothing, fixed it up, filled it with tenants, and turned it into a cash machine. While they cried I closed, that's what builders do. We see gold in the rubble. And while the world was telling me to play it safe, I went even bigger. I launched The Apprentice. The media mocked it before it even aired. Trump on TV, he's finished, desperate. They laughed again. But then the ratings came in, then the world started watching. Then "you're fired" became the most iconic phrase on television. And suddenly the people who mocked me were standing in line to pitch me business. Because once again, I built through the noise. But none of that comeback happened by luck. It happened because I refused to waste time crying. Every hour someone else was sulking, I was strategizing. Every day they were telling sad stories, I was dialing deals. That's how you build back, not with emotions, with execution. I learned everything I needed to know during that collapse. Who was real, who was fake, which structures held, which cracks were fatal. I studied it all. And then I rebuilt smarter, leaner, stronger. People talk about mental toughness like it's some vague concept. Let me tell you what it really is. It's walking into your office knowing every eye is watching to see if you'll crack. It's answering the phone knowing the voice on the other end might be another lawsuit, another lender, another headline. And still showing up, still building, still thinking 3 moves ahead. That's mental toughness. That's what carried me through the storm. You know what else? I never asked anyone to feel sorry for me. I never went on TV crying about how hard it was. You know why? Because I knew what I signed up for. Big wins come with big risk. Big vision comes with big backlash. And when you play at my level, the fall hurts harder. But I also knew one thing: if I kept building, if I kept stacking moves, if I stayed in the game long enough, I'd win again. And I did. The very same people who said I was done, they're working with me now. Some of them work for me now. That's the part nobody tells you. When you build in silence, your results make the noise. Your success becomes the apology. I didn't need them to like me. I needed them to see me win. And once they did, respect followed. That's what building does. It flips the power dynamic. When you cry, you hand the world your power. When you build, you take it back, and that's what I did. I didn't need anyone's permission. I gave it to myself. I didn't wait for a new economy. I made one. I didn't wait for the storm to pass. I built in the rain. That's why the brand is bulletproof now, because it was forged in fire. So let me ask you, what are you going through right now? What setback has you ready to fold? What loss has you on the floor, crying, complaining, looking for comfort? Good, that's your moment, that's your proving ground. That's the exact place where your new chapter begins if you start building. Don't write a pity post, don't call 5 friends. Don't post about how hard it is. Grab a pen, grab a plan, and start stacking wins. I built towers when I was being sued. I built shows when they said I was irrelevant. I built momentum when they said I was too old, too loud, too controversial. And every time I came out stronger. That's not because I'm special. It's because I made a choice not to cry. Not to quit, but to build. And you can do the same. You don't need permission. You don't need perfect conditions. You need courage. You need discipline. You need to shut out the noise and build your way forward. One call, one sale, one deal, $1, brick by brick, breakaway. That's how you rebuild everything. Because at the end of the day, crying gives you nothing. But building, that changes everything. Everything starts in the mind, everything. Before the tower goes up, the blueprint exists in your head. Before the business succeeds, the confidence to launch exists in your gut. And before the world respects you, you have to believe you're worthy of it even when no one else does. That's the edge. That's what separates the builders from the crybabies. Crying is emotional surrender. Building is mental warfare. I chose war. See, most people break before they even get hit. They've been conditioned to fold one bad day. They spiral. One failure. They start journaling their pain.
Me?
I smile. Because that's pressure. And pressure is fuel. Pressure means I'm building something that matters. If you're not feeling pressure, you're not aiming high enough. You're living soft. And soft never made history. Let me make something clear. Your mind is your first construction site. If you don't control it, someone else will. And the media, your family, your fear. And once they set up camp in your head, they'll dictate your future. I never let them in, never. I locked the door and built from the inside out. Because I knew this, once you control your mind, you can't be stopped. They can throw fire, lies, setbacks, but if your head is locked in, you win every time. I don't let negative thoughts stay. They don't pay rent, so I evict them fast. The second doubt creeps in, I kill it with action. I replace it with proof. That's the power move. You want confidence? Build it. You want belief? Earn it. People think mindset is something you're born with. It's not. It's built like muscle, like money. You train it, you stretch it, you condition it until it's unbreakable. I trained my brain to move under fire. When lawsuits hit, when deals fell through, when the press tried to bury me, I didn't pause. I doubled down. I didn't look for support. I created structure. And that gave me clarity, focus, power. When the world screamed collapse, my mind whispered build. That's how I survived. That's how I thrived. Because my thinking didn't depend on conditions. It drove conditions. Most people wait to feel ready. I never did. I moved before I was comfortable. I launched before it was perfect. I pushed before I had approval. That's mindset. That's control. When you stop waiting for comfort, you become unstoppable. You stop looking for green lights and you start building highways. That's how I created Trump Tower. That's how I launched The Apprentice. That's how I ran for president. I moved before they gave me permission and made them respect me after. You've got to stop tying your mindset to your mood. That's for amateurs. I don't wake up asking how I feel. I wake up asking what's next, what are we building? What are we dominating today? That's the energy. That's the frequency of champions. They don't think in feelings, they think in moves, and every move is rooted in belief. I believe in myself more than anyone else does. Always have, always will. And guess what? That belief made the banks come back. That belief made NBC give me prime time. That belief made the American people vote. Because people follow certainty, they follow strength. And strength starts in the skull. You can be smart, talented, even rich, but if your mind is fragile, you'll crumble. Every single time. You've got to get addicted to control. Not of others, of yourself, of your reactions, of your self-talk, of your focus. That's the internal real estate that really matters. I protect mine like gold. I don't let noise in. I don't let distractions linger. If it doesn't serve the mission, it doesn't get time. Period. That's how you build mental fortresses. Not walls, fortresses, impenetrable. And when your mind becomes a fortress, the world can't stop you. People cry because they feel powerless. I never feel powerless because I'm always in motion. I'm always building, and movement creates momentum. The moment you stop, the crying begins. The fear grows. The doubt multiplies. You want to stay mentally sharp? Stay moving, keep stacking wins, even small ones. That's how you weaponize your mind. The secret? I don't take losses personally. I take them professionally, I study them. I adjust, I evolve, but I never absorb the loss emotionally. That's where most people fall apart. They make it about their worth. I make it about my next move. That's mindset. That's leadership. That's why I never needed pity. I had a plan. And I'll say this again for the ones in the back. I don't need praise to keep going. Most people do. They need claps, likes, proud of you texts. I don't. I fuel myself. I push myself. I talk to myself like a winner every day. Let's dominate. Let's build. Let's win. That voice in my head is louder than their hate. And yours needs to be too. You've got to fall in love with building, not just the results, not just the trophies. The process, the sweat, the pressure, the days no one sees. I love those days. I live for those days. That's where the real power is built. Not in front of the cameras, in silence, in solitude. That's where you become who you're supposed to be. Once your mind is locked in, it's time to move. That's where most people stall. They think mindset alone will build the empire. It won't. Mindset is the engine, but execution is the vehicle. If you don't move, you don't win. Period. That's the Trump rule, and I never sat still. Not for the market, not for the media, not for anyone. I moved, I built, I took action while everyone else was crying about what went wrong. You also have to get strategic, not just busy. Most people confuse motion with progress. They stay grinding but never grow. That's not how I built. Every deal I did had a reason. Every move had leverage. I built vertically, meaning one win fed the next. Trump Tower led to media, media global branding, branding led to international deals. That's how you scale one solid win at a time. And I didn't do it alone. That's another lesson. You need a team, not friends, not fans. Killers, experts, people who move like you move, who think like you. I cut weak links fast. If they cried more than they built, they were gone. Because this isn't therapy, it's war. And if you don't treat your vision like a battlefield, someone else will conquer it before you do. You want to know how I scaled fast? I stopped micromanaging, I started systemizing. I created structure, I built out teams. Operations, pipelines, I didn't do every task. I designed the system. That's how empires grow. If you're still doing everything yourself 5 years in, you're not building a business, you're building a cage. And trust me, I don't do cages. Here's the deal, you don't need 50 ideas. You need one that works, one thing you can execute better than anyone else. I picked real estate, I mastered it, then I scaled it, then I leveraged it. And only then did I expand into media, branding, politics. Most of you want 5 things at once. That's a losing strategy. Focus, win, then scale. Every failure I had, I studied it, not emotionally.
Logically, I asked what broke, what did I miss?
Where was the weakness, and then I fixed it. And that's why the same thing rarely beat me twice. I learned fast, I implemented faster. That's how you build resilience. That's how you stay sharp while others drown in their feelings. Want to silence the doubters? Don't argue. Build. Want to shut up the haters? Don't complain, dominate. They mocked Trump Tower, now it's a landmark. They mocked The Apprentice, now it's a business case study. They mocked my run for office and I won. Not once. I built movements, I built monuments, and I built them while they were mocking me. That's the formula, that's the playbook. You've got to start playing the long game. Most of you want a quick fix, a one-week turnaround. That's fantasy. I played decades ahead. I thought in legacy, I thought in market cycles, in positioning. And that's why I'm still relevant, because I didn't build for the moment, I built for the movement. You're going to get hurt, you're going to take losses, you're going to lose people, lose money, lose pride. And you've got 2 options, cry about it or build from it. That's it. That's the choice. And every time I chose to build, that's why they couldn't stop me, couldn't cancel me, couldn't break me. Because no matter what came at me, I turned it into bricks. So what now? What's your move? You've read the mindset, you've heard the pain, you've seen the blueprint. Now you build. Don't wait, don't post, don't whine. Just build. Build something strong, so undeniable that even the people who counted you out come knocking for a job. That's how I did it. That's how you will too. Because the world doesn't care why you cried. It only remembers what you built.